Good morning, Bimblers, and you join me here in Lancaster again. It's one of my favourite haunts, and we're going down National Cycle Route 69. 69, dude. We've been down it before, but this time, when we get to the end of the cycle route, we're going off on the roads, and hopefully we're going to make it to somewhere called Hornby. So let's stop messing about and let's bimble. And so we reach Halton station and the Halton bridge, aka the Greyhound Bridge, aka the Danny Beck Bridge, aka the Penny Bridge. But this isn't the original bridge that was here, called the Halton Bridge. That was built in 1849, and it was built by the North Western Railway Company. They're the railway company that built this cycle track that we're going down. Obviously, trains used to go down it, but now it's a cycle track. National Cycle Route 69. 69, dude. They built the original bridge to get the workers over from Halton to work on the new railway. Originally, they used to ferry the men across in rowboats, but they had some floods round here and some biblical weather, and 8 men drowned. And I'd like to say that the North Western Railway Company built a bridge to get the men over the river safely. But really they just built a bridge so that people could get to Halton station and use the railway line. In 1869, the wooden bridge that they built got washed away by another flood. They really needed an iron bridge, but they didn't get one of those until 1913. This bridge behind me. But this bridge behind me is a hand-me-down bridge. It's second-hand. This used to go over the River Lune, further back in Lancaster. In fact, where we started today's Bimble. If you've ever visited Lancaster before, you may have seen the curved road bridge that goes over the River Lune. Well, that used to be a railway bridge, and that replaced this bridge. And they took this bridge bit by bit and reassembled it here at Halton. And they used to charge people a toll to cross it. And the toll was a penny, hence the name the Penny Bridge. And it's well worth crossing over the bridge because you get to go to Halton. Halton has a Motte and Bailey castle that was destroyed in 1322 by Robert the Bruce, you know, the Scottish fella. And it wouldn't be a trip to Lancaster if there wasn't a church that was done up by Edward Graham Paley. That would be St Wilfrid's Church. And there's been a church here dedicated to St Wilfrid since at least 1252. And there's further evidence that there was churches here in Halton because they've got an Anglo-Saxon cross in the churchyard. Well, they've got the base for an Anglo-Saxon cross and a reproduction on the top. But that's near enough. Let's bimble in the rain.
Are you listening? You still won't figure it out. Figure it. With all your thoughts on your mind all the time, oh, it's deafening. You still won't figure it out. Figure it. With a simple frame of mind and a little time, you can protest all you like. We both know, with goodwill on your side and a little time, you can have just what you like. We both know things could be easy if you just try. Better off this time, have your own way.
This is Caton, and it's just down the road from the Crook-o Lune. Not the Crook of Lune, that's in Cumbria, the Crook-o Lune. We've bimbled there in the past, in a previous video. Caton gets its name from an old Norse fella called Cotti. And I think why it's called Caton and not Cotton is because he spelt his name K-A-T-I, like Katie. The name Cotti is a mix with the Old English word for town or settlement, ton, as in Warrington or Southampton. Obviously the River Lune runs past Caton, but running straight through the village is the Arkle Beck. Beck is another word for river. It's a funny word because it only exists in Cumbria and Lincolnshire. Nowhere else seems to have becks, just places round there. It's where you get the surname Beck from, as in Jeff Beck, God rest his soul. In 1803 they found a funny thing in the Arkle Beck, an 8-foot long millstone, and inscribed on it was the name Emperor Hadrian. You know, Hadrian from Hadrian's Wall, Hadrian. He built a wall to keep the Scottish out of England. It didn't work very well on Robert the Bruce though. But in his defence, Robert the Bruce came about 1,000 years after he built the wall. Another departed chap here in Caton is an old oak tree. And apparently the monks from Cockasand Abbey used to stand underneath it and sell fish. So that would have dated the tree back to 1541, or a little bit before that, before Henry VIII knackered all the monasteries. Unfortunately in 2016 it fell down. They tried for many years to prop up the tree and keep it going, but alas it wasn't any good. And just the husk of the tree exists now, just outside the ship inn. Wonder whether we've got time for a pint. Probably not. Let's bimble.
Just try. I know you heard every word, every line, but you're missing it. Why won't you figure it out? Figure it. I talk really loud. If you heard, oh, it's deafening. You still won't figure it out. Figure it. But with a simple frame of mind and a little time, you can protest all you like. We both know, with goodwill on your side and a little time, you can have just what you like. We both know it's easy if you just try. You'd be better off this time. Have it your own way if you like. It's easy if you just try. Time. You can protest all you like.
There are two places within cycling distance of Lancaster with the same name, both spelt exactly the same, but pronounced differently. You have Claughton in Garstang, and you have Claughton here, and a confusing to pronounce name is not the only thing that Claughton has. Claughton has Claughton Brickworks, and it has a shale rock quarry at the top of the hill, and going in between the shale rock quarry and the brickworks is the UK's last aerial ropeway. It was built in the 1920s, but apparently it'll be closed by 2036. That's because the quarry at the top of the hill won't have any shale left in it. It'll be empty, all quarried out. The aerial ropeway doesn't use any power. It's all gravity based. They pick up 1/4 of a ton of shale at the top of the hill, and the weight of that pulls up all the empty tubs. Clever stuff. I could do with something like that to get me up these hills. Let's bimble.
You can protest all you like. We both know, with goodwill on your side and a little time, you can have just what you like. We both know it's easy if you just try. You'd be better off this time. Have it your own way if you like. It's easy if you just try. Try, you'd be better off this time. Have it your own way if you like. It's easy if you just try.
And so we reach Hornby, journey's end. It's been a bit moist, this one, hasn't it? It wasn't meant to be. Hornby has 2 castles, or had 2 castles. I think it's a mixture of both. Where we are now was Castle Steed. It was a Mott and Bailey castle built in the 1100s, but it was abandoned in the 1300s, and all that's left of it now is a few rocks and a mound of dirt. I think it might have been Robert the Bruce that drove them out of the castle, or it could have been the building of the other castle in Hornby, Hornby Castle. My favourite thing about Castle Steed is this thing behind me, a World War II pillbox. And if you like a pillbox, maybe you should join the Facebook Appreciation Society like I did. But make sure if you post a picture of a pillbox, you tell them exactly where it is, otherwise they get very upset. This one's in Hornby in Lancashire, lads. It's just here by Castle Steed. The Pillbox would have looked over the River Lune, just like Castle Steed did. But Hornby Castle, just up the way, would have looked over the River Lune and the River Wenning. Hornby is where you get the confluence between the River Wenning and the River Lune. Hornby Castle was home to the Neville family, and Ralph Neville married a Joan Beaufort, and Joan Beaufort was John of Gaunt's daughter. John of Gaunt is one half of the reason why Yorkshire and Lancashire don't get on. He was the Lancashire side. He believed that his son should be the King of England. But Edmund of Langley thought that one of his sons should be the King of England on the Yorkshire side. It turned out that Lancashire won, because Henry Beaufort became Henry IV. The castle's private these days, you can't get in. But it doesn't look like one of those medieval castles anyway. It looks like one of those Victorian ones. And one of the men that made it look a bit Victorian would have been my favourite, Edward Graham Paley. Apparently he tarted it up a bit. And he also tarted up the church round here, St Margaret's, with its octagonal tower. Triple Paley.